Hi guys, so I wanted to get back to some basics and had some fun making this video, so I've presented to you my 7 days Craig David style back to basics of financial independence. Also, just before we delve in, I want to give a huge shout out to Alex Peroff, who has a channel on personal finance and philosophy. So if that tickles your fancy, go check out his channel. He knows all about the hustle and grind life, and I love that. The link is down there below.
Hey Fifi, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to work with you to do this collaboration. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for giving me a lot of artistic freedom and creativity and license to try some new things out. I hope that you and your audience really appreciate it.
And guys, Alex has done me the honor of editing this video. Say what? Honestly, so let's hit it up and enjoy. Hi, I'm Fifi, a mum and engineer, a consultant living in London, and I make videos about saving money, investing, and understanding the economy to make better financial decisions. Right, so let's just get into it. To become financially independent, younger requires a different mindset, a different habit stack than the average Joe. So all of you people in the financial community will know what I'm talking about. So yes, I'm a little bit of a weirdo because I love life hacks, unconventional adventures, and short-term sacrifices, and I have a good few stories to tell you about those on a rainy day. Well, it's raining, so why not? So I started a supper club, I owned a restaurant, I started selling handbags at one point, I was a charity chugga-mugger, I was writing CVs, I was house hacking, I was investing with all the bells and some small bits and bobs in between. So, and those that didn't make the cut, like when I tried to mass produce cookies in our flat in Shoreditch and ended up with 1,000 packaging boxes stored in every crevice possible because the supplier sent the wrong batch and didn't want them back. Nonetheless, I diverge, but I do know how to make a really good cookie now. So let's cover off some of these basics. So the first one, on Monday, you eradicate your debt. The reason to remove debt is because it's a reverse compounder. And I'm not saying you'll eradicate your debt in one day. I'm saying let's get on top of it in that one day so you know how to do it quicker. So any debt over 4 to 5% is compounding against you and also offsets any lower risk investments you may be making. Consumer debt in the form of personal loans and credit cards is a good example. To make yourself aware of the rule of 72. This is where you take 72 and divide it by the interest rate of the loan. Take a credit card, for example, where the interest rate is about 20%. This debt is doubling every 3.5 years. So when you divide 72 by 20%, the credit card companies keep the minimum payment low enough that you could be paying this debt for a very, very long time. And this is why credit cards are so lucrative to the banks, because they can almost twist your arm to pay double of what your original loan was. On the flip side, the rich use debt as a leveraging tool to make their cash work harder for them. And so while the majority use debt to fund bad habits and then end up paying through the nose, sorry for people out there, you have to cut that extra spending. On Tuesday, you have to review how to cut the extra spending. When we are aspiring towards financial independence, we're trying to de-risk our primary employment to fund our lives. If in our lives we've been spending excessively, we'll need more money invested to fund that habit. But for example, you smoke a packet of cigarettes a day and each pack in the UK here costs about £10. A year's habit has suddenly cost you £3,650. Now those fire seekers out there will know that the Trinity study dictates that spending needs to be multiplied by 25 to get the invested amount, and that is the amount that needs to be saved to have achieved financial independence. So in this example, to fund this habit of sparking up a pack a day, it would mean you would need £91,250 invested. That is insane. And that is the burden of spending that is recurring, and why so many fire seekers adopt financial minimalism to hit their goals quicker and reduce the amount that they need invested. So keep a budget, reconcile your bank statements to eliminate recurring spending that is not generating value. We often forget there are others, such as contracts to phone companies and utilities, that can be negotiated or reviewed at the end of their contract. So there's always money to be saved. On Wednesday, we understand how inflation impacts cash. A lot of mums often tell me they invest the cash they receive from government or from gifts, and they go on and add their own contributions towards their children's savings in bank accounts and premium bonds. It's a poor choice in my opinion, and given the time horizon for that investment, they can ride the market and invest their funds instead. The same is of course true for adults. Save enough to cover your emergency funds or money you may need at short notice, and use the rest to educate yourself on your risk profile, your goals, and then invest it. Money sitting in a bank has a cost, and that cost is inflation, and over a significant period of time your money saved will have a much lower purchasing power than it did when you put it in. So to keep your money as cash has a cost, know that. Turn them into little soldiers called capital and have them working for you. On Thursday, we hustle and negotiate your first income. The first point, your primary income is not set in stone. As you become more experienced and valuable to your company, you create implicit value that is accretive to what you would have negotiated when you joined your company. This is crystallized when you re-enter to find a new job or ask for a pay rise. It's find that really hard to do, but if you are generating value, then as any business transaction, you should negotiate your fair worth. Likewise, there are so many opportunities to side hustle, and I listed quite a few that I've done personally, but the best side hustles are that are not tied to your time, and so think about that, but also note they're riskier and take more time to establish. Just a couple of more points on this one actually. The first one is there is only so much you can do by cutting costs. It's a fundamental part of the strategy. The second point I wanted to quickly make is when you make those extra dollars or pounds, invest them. Don't fall victim to lifestyle creep. One of my husband's favorite phrases at the moment is cash flow rich, asset poor. Instead, be asset rich to generate that cash flow richness. Are we on Friday yet? On Friday, you don't leave money on the table. There is plenty of free money that we leave on the table in the UK that we simply should not. The most criminal is pension matching. So if your employer offers a pension contribution match, you are doubling your money. Max it out. Likewise, if you can afford to pay more into your pension, then do it, guys, because that is like the government giving you money because you don't have to potentially pay taxes on it. So optimize your pension. It's a detailed topic. Often people find it dull and then ignore it, but do so at your own peril. On Saturday, we become aware of the LISA and the investment bonus there of 20% cash from the government in the UK, that is. So then on Sunday, we just use freebies. So some other freebies that I use is topcashback.com, which is quite popular in the UK. So everything I buy online, I check through there to see if I can get any money back on it. I say but largely I do try and use it. Use perks to sign up. Amex, for instance, and their small shop scheme gives you £5 for the first purchase in local stores during the period, which refreshes at least a couple of times a year. Another one is collect Avios points and fly for free. Well, when you can fly, that is. Whatever you do, be conscious of the money that you're spending and see how you can reduce. And another point I wanted to make, we don't change utilities, bank accounts or mobile phone providers, and that's money we are giving away each month. And coupled with sites like Top Cashback, we could be getting paid to switch. Are we on Sunday? Have a think about your car. If you buy a new car every few years, then you have essentially paid the depreciation of that car with added interest. Let me phrase that again. You have paid for something that is guaranteed to have lost value, period. So the car financing is designed to cover asset price loss, which as a consumer, you pay for with your addiction to the new car smell. So minimize that by buying used cars where the asset loss is much lower because the owner before has taken that hit for you. And likewise, for me as a city person, I don't need a gas guzzler. I need a nice economic car that holds its value and doesn't drink petrol like vodka on a Friday night. It's way better for your personal balance sheet, to be honest. The final thing I want to talk about, is this the final thing? Rethink how you look at your house. Really, two things to think about here. The average Brit and the average American spend about a third of their income on housing. Does the housing need to be as big as you have it? If you do have extra space, can you monetize it? My partner and I, before we had kids, were living in a 2-bed flat and we rented our spare room out to a lodger because we were never home most of the time, so didn't need the space. And later on, we rented it to our business in the form of an office. What I'm trying to say is if you've got a spare room in your house, be creative with it. See if it can generate you anything. So recurring income works much like recurring expenses in that where expenses increase the number you need invested to retire, recurring income reduces the number you need invested. Get the balances balanced is basically what I'm saying. Many personal finance folk out there also argue that your primary residence that you own is not an investment. It's not a debate I'm going to get into here. However, if you do see it like that, then you can make the debate clearer by reducing excess spending on it, or make it a clear asset by generating an income from it. So there you have it. A strategy for every day of the week for the next 7 days. But really, jokes aside, if you do spend a chunk of time each day on each point, I guarantee you'll be better off in a week. Bold statement from Fifi. Now, there are a lot of topics here, and I have curated a few videos that explore some of these points in a bit more detail. Click here to run through them. Thank you once again, Alex Peroff. Go check out his channel for editing this video. Lord knows what it looks like right now while I'm recording it. Fingers crossed, he's on it.